spent in a miserable way.
U.S. News: Donald Trump has boxed himself into a corner. Opinion. Democratic House members were rightly anxious about casting a politically fraught vote, particularly without any assurance the Senate would take it up. It sits. The moment I walked through the door, and before I addressed the group, the once and future Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi accosted me. If, mercifully, God intervened, a clergyman took, and Pelosi was Obama's greatest and most resourceful ally on Capitol Hill. She was tough and newly back in charge of the House. Pelosi has just treated President Donald Trump to a brutal civics lesson about the separation of powers under the U.S. Constitution. Friday. Now both he and Pelosi have calculations to make. The most urgent are those of Trump, who impulsively painted himself into a corner and smashed headlong into his mythic border wall. Picking a fight he could. In Pelosi, Trump has encountered a canny and implacable foe, with an intimate understanding of the power invested in the Congress. She would not be bullied. It seems doubtful that the Speaker, flush with victory, will extend a light wrath to the President, who faces another deadline 3 weeks from now. It is unlikely, had he not made the wall his sine qua non, Trump might have been able to claim this as a victory, arguing that he won significant new funding for border security. After all, the problem is, he got elected by selling the wall. He invested it with, so my guess is that Trump will play the national emergency card when the deadline arrives in 3 weeks, claiming the power to shift funds from other purposes to build the wall. He almost certainly will lose again, this time in the court, as the Constitution clearly assigns the power to appropriate money to the Congress. But he will want to get. Trump's bigger concern should be less a wall on the border than the ones closing in on his presidency. On the very day, with the indictment of Roger Stone, Special Counsel Robert Mueller added another piece to a jigsaw puzzle that is taking shape. And no matter how often, the House will have the responsibility to act on Mueller's findings or any attempt by the White House and Justice Department to suppress it. No one knows exactly, but for 2 years, Congress has done its best to shield Trump from a thorough reckoning on Russia, his commercial exploitation of the White House and myriad other potential abuses. Now the power of the House is in Pelosi's hands. What should be clear to the President today, if it was before, is that she knows how to use it.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.